day, you know, there are more kids dying of gun violence than there are actual soldiers being lost in the wars we're fighting around the world.
The NRA is an industry lobby group, and I can only imagine their objective is to sell more guns. What else would you be doing as a lobbying group?
Do you feel like what happened in Newtown is going to have impact on this?
I think it is. I think this time is different. Seeing a whole bunch of, 6 and 7-year-olds mowed down by guns, I think definitely targeted people's heartstrings in a way that none of these shootings have before. Reading these obituaries of 6-year-olds is absolutely heartbreaking for people.
The answer to protect our children is to arm the faculty, arm the teachers.
He has a right to his opinion, but I'm tired of our country living in his fantasy land. I don't mind him having his opinion. I mind that right now Congress is listening to his opinion.
The NRA has had a stranglehold on Congress for much too long. And so if we're unhappy about it, then it's every citizen's responsibility to do something about it.
America is the only industrialized country that has nearly this amount of weaponry, and the only industrialized country that has nearly this amount of mass shootings. The answer to the number of guns we have isn't more guns.
We know as teachers, it's our first responsibility to keep the students safe. And in order to do that, it can't just be up to the teachers and principals alone. It can't just be a school's responsibility. It has to be a community responsibility.
A majority of NRA members say that they support tougher regulations and different types of gun control than we currently have in place. So the NRA spends all of this time and money, lobbying and donating to candidates to avoid any change in our gun laws or to avoid any type of regulation. And, the majority of their members don't support that.
Nobody's here saying that, let's get rid of all guns.
Nobody is trying to take away your right to hunt or to protect your house. But the types of guns that they seem to be so invested in protecting people's quote-unquote rights to own, nobody needs that to kill a deer.
This tragedy, it so deepens the despair that I think members of Congress themselves are going to realize, you know what, I'm not going to get kicked out of the office for standing up to the NRA on this one. My constituents are in fact paying attention, and they want an end to these nonsensical gun policies.
What would you say to people who say that they need the heavy firepower in order to defend against incursions from the federal government onto their property?
I think that if they're hoping to use, the federal government has tanks and nuclear weapons, so I think that ship has sailed if that's their reason for owning this kind of a weapon. Honestly, we need to have a much bigger conversation if people are that afraid of their government. Starting with the fact they need to remember that they are part of their government, and if they don't like it that much, they should get involved in a peaceful way, because we actually have the structure to do that in our country. We don't need weapons in order to get involved in our government.
This is now my responsibility to do this, and I ask my family members and my friends to take their responsibility and speak up for themselves and let Congress know.
There's no lobbyist, there's no anything that's worth the life of our family members, our children, and we need to step up and say that we're not going to be intimidated, and we're not going to let petty politics get in the way of us doing what we need to do to be safe.
So I'm asking you to write to them, I'm asking you to call them, I'm asking you to Facebook and tweet even, because Sandy Hook can't be like Aurora, it can't be like Tucson, it can't be something that just goes away with nothing changing until the next massacre. I would like us in this country to regulate our guns as much as we regulate our Sudafed.